We bring you all of this and more on World Business Watch.
The Earth is sending distress signals. Wildfires, droughts, and melting glaciers. Can we reverse the damage? Explore the harrowing effects of climate change. It's a wake-up call. Global emergency. Climate Tracker on WION World is One.
From the bustling trading floors of Wall Street to the vibrant exchanges of Asian stock markets, WION breaks it down for you to make sense of what's happening, as we reveal the key factors behind events, strategic battles, and the game-changing business decisions that shape the world. We bring you all of this and more on World Business Watch. WION, India's global voice, the channel that brings you the biggest stories from across the world through India's lens. Now available in more than 190 countries worldwide, because we believe that the world is one. Watch us in Africa, Europe, USA and Canada, South America, Asia Pacific, Middle East and North African regions. Also available on these digital platforms across the world. WION. World is One.
To bring the benefits of the Subhash Chandra Show to your educational institution, teachers and students, send an invitation to Juhi Jha at juhi@such.org.in.
The Earth is sending distress signals. Wildfires, droughts, and melting glaciers. Can we reverse the damage? Explore the harrowing effects of climate change. It's a wake-up call. Global emergency. Climate Tracker on WION World is One.
Hello and welcome. You are watching Gravitas with me, Molly Gambhir. Let's get started. Our top story tonight is about America's policy towards Pakistan's counter-terrorism role. We tell you how what's happened recently leaves behind a string of serious questions. Is the Trump administration falling into Pakistan's trap all over again? We get you the complete story in just a bit. And before we get to that, here's a quick look at what else is lined up for you on the show tonight. We get you the latest on the Russia-Ukraine war. What is the strategy looking like on either side? Where are things headed? We get you updates from the battlefield. America remains on edge amid tensions over Los Angeles immigration protests. We decode the developments for you. All this and more coming up. US policy towards Pakistan's counter-terrorism role appears dangerously confused, pointing to Washington's troubling new strategic alignment with Islamabad. The Trump administration seems to be embarking on a perilous path, potentially falling into Pakistan's trap once again. WION Siddhant Sibbal getting you more in this report.
Recent developments paint a contradictory picture amid India's growing concerns over cross-border terrorism from Pakistan. General Michael Kurilla, head of U.S. Central Command, praises Pakistan as a phenomenal partner in counter-terrorism, highlighting its capture of 5 high-value ISIS Khorasan operatives and extradition of a key figure in the 2021 Kabul airport bombing. Speaking at a House Armed Services Committee hearing, Kurilla emphasizes Pakistan's anti-ISIS-K efforts, noting military operations in Balochistan and along the Afghan border. Despite 1,000 terrorist attacks in 2024 that killed 700 security personnel and 2,500 civilians,
we have to have a relationship with Pakistan and with India. I do not believe it is a binary switch, that we can't have one with Pakistan if we have a relationship with India. We should look at the merits of the relationship for the positives that it has.
Paul Kapoor, Trump's incoming top diplomat for South Asia, stresses upon security cooperation with Pakistan during his Senate Foreign Relations Committee nomination hearing.
Pakistan, if confirmed, I will pursue security cooperation where it is beneficial to U.S. interests, while seeking opportunities for bilateral collaboration in trade and investment.
Conversely, FBI Chief Kash Patel revealed Pakistan's darker side, announcing the extradition of Mohammad Shahzeb Khan, a Pakistani national arrested in Canada for plotting an ISIS-linked mass shooting in New York. At a State Department briefing, spokesperson Tammy Bruce deflected questions about Trump's potential Kashmir mediation, leaving the matter to the White House. Reports suggest Pakistan's newly appointed field marshal will visit the U.S. imminently. Islamabad taking Washington for another ride? History suggests this wouldn't be the first time. During 1971's ping-pong diplomacy, Pakistan facilitated secret US-China talks, leveraging Beijing ties to broker Nixon's historic visit. Earning American goodwill and aid in the 1980s Afghan jihad, Pakistan became the conduit for US and Saudi support to Mujahideen fighting Soviet forces, receiving billions while fostering extremist networks that later fueled regional instability. Islamabad's intelligence services, the ISI, trained and armed fighters, cementing its frontline state role. After the Afghan jihad ended, Pakistan redirected its terror infrastructure against India. Not without reason did India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar term Pakistan a terroristan yesterday in Brussels. Today, Pakistan continues this duplicitous game, offering counter-terrorism cooperation to the US through capturing ISIS-K operatives, whilst simultaneously harboring UN-listed terror groups like Lashkar-e-Taiba, responsible for attacks in India. With Siddhant Sibbal, Bureau Report, WION World is One.
Sooner than later, the US may realize when the Pakistan bubble and deception burst like in the past. Perhaps the US is still reticent, but it better realize and absorb that India is not sitting in the back row anymore. It has earned its seat on the table. And India does not need US validation anymore. Let's now shift focus and get you up to speed with the latest on the Russia-Ukraine war. Ukraine is buckling under relentless fire, and the Russian forces have hammered Kharkiv with drones, bombed the Dnipro's outskirts, and are now rolling towards Sumy while Ukraine's air defenses run dry. In the latest, 3 people have died while multiple have been injured. Our next report telling you more about how, with dwindling Western aid and Trump redirecting anti-drone missiles, Kiev is, in a way, fighting for survival.
The air crackles with the raw power of explosions. The night sky over Ukraine is lit with fire. It is yet another night of terror. Russia continues its relentless aerial bombardment. Precision missiles, heavy bombs, and swarms of drones are tearing through an already weakened infrastructure, reducing hardened structures and civilian havens to jagged ruins. After Kyiv and Odessa, Russia turned its glare towards Kharkiv. More than 15 apartments were on fire in a 5-story building and several houses were hit.
Kharkiv is under attack yet again. 17 Shade drones hit the city. As of now, 3 5-story apartment blocks are damaged. Also, private dwellings and industrial enterprises were hit.
There was a fire. I felt the smoke. I got out. I didn't have a chance to take any documents or money. There was a lot of smoke. It was impossible to stay and smoke and look for something.
These are the latest images from Odessa, death and devastation. The Ukrainian port city situated on the Black Sea coast is under relentless attacks. The ground forces, a tide of Russian might, are now pushing relentlessly towards Dnipro, their advance a chilling testament to the shifting tides of war. Sumy too lies within range, its fate hanging precariously in the balance as the war rapidly transforms in Russia's favor. Ukrainian military says that it targeted and destroyed 2 Russian drone control centers, 4 artillery systems, and a command post. Ukrainian Defense Ministry released these images of Iris-T SLM air defense system donated by Germany in action. The intensity of this conflict has risen to a horrifying degree, pushing Ukraine to its absolute breaking point. The nation strains under the immense pressure, finding it increasingly impossible to sustain the fight. Its arsenal, once a symbol of defiance, is now tragically depleted, a direct consequence of dwindling aid from its Western allies. Ukraine desperately needs air defense systems which are running critically low on missiles, leaving them agonizingly vulnerable to the relentless aerial assault. With summer's full-scale assault looming, the next weeks could decide Ukraine's fate. Will Russia push deeper, or will the West step in with patriots and precision weapons? The front lines won't shift without decisive support. Bureau Report, WION, World is One.
On to Gaza now. At least 31 have been killed, over 200 injured in Israeli gunfire near a food distribution center. This is according to the Gaza Civil Defense Agency. In fact, the latest incident is the deadliest to occur near food distribution points run by the US-backed Gaza Humanitarian Foundation. Let's just first tell you more about what transpired. According to the local health officials, the injured were rushed to the Al-Awda hospital in Nuseirat camp in central Gaza and the Al-Quds in Gaza City in the north.
My husband worked on a donkey cart to carry passengers. He was taking passengers to the Al-Alam area to get aid. He did not go to get aid himself, but was shot in the head. He was sitting on the cart.
We received many injuries as people headed to the areas where aid was being distributed in Netzarim and El Nabulsi. Many arrived with gunshot wounds, as well as shrapnel wounds, due to the shelling and targeting by Israeli tanks.
With hunger and malnutrition increasing sharply in Gaza, the repeated attacks on the aid workers only adding to the worsening humanitarian crisis. Israel allowed limited UN-led operations to resume on May 19 after an 11-week blockade in the enclave of in fact, however, the United Nations says the aid allowed into Gaza is like a drop in the ocean. People are struggling to survive. The Integrated Food Security Phased Classification Snapshot for Gaza, a UN-backed report, warns of an imminent famine across Gaza. The report saying 2.1 million people face acute food insecurity and 1 in 5 people are at the risk of starvation. The report underlining that the entire population in Gaza is expected to face crisis or worse, acute food insecurity. Of the 1.94 million people analyzed, 12% are facing the highest level of acute food insecurity in Gaza, whereas 44% are facing large food consumption gaps. And this basically marks a significant worsening as compared to the previous IPC analysis, which was released in October 2024. According to a projected analysis of how the upcoming months in Gaza would unfold, 22% of the people are already at the catastrophic level. 54% are facing emergency. The remaining 24% are struggling to meet minimum needs through depleted assets. On to the United States now. Cities across the country remain on edge amid tensions over the Los Angeles immigration protests. Overnight, the Los Angeles mayor imposed a curfew downtown. As protests that began with deportation raids last week intensified, let's take a look. Since Friday, let's tell you what all has happened. In fact, since Friday, thousands have taken to the streets demonstrating against a series of deportation raids ordered by the federal government. Some protests have turned violent, prompting looting, vandalism, more than 500 arrests so far. In fact, even journalists covering the developments have been caught in the crossfire. On Tuesday, another journalist was hit by a less lethal round while filming the unrest.
I wanted to let the city know that I have declared a local emergency and issued a curfew for downtown Los Angeles to stop the vandalism, to stop the looting.
The LAPD said it made mass arrests after the mayor's curfew order. In fact, at least 25 people were arrested overnight for breaking the curfew, which covers a 1 square mile zone in downtown LA. Heavily armed security forces, some on horseback, patrolled near government buildings as shopkeepers boarded up the storefronts. Donald Trump continues to defend his decision. At Fort Bragg, North Carolina, he was quoted as saying he is using, quote, every asset at the disposal to restore order.
All I want in terms of engagement, I just want to see peace. If there's peace, we get out. If there's even a chance of no peace, we stay there until there's peace.
And Donald Trump also took to social media to claim that if he did not send in the troops, Los Angeles would be burning to the ground. And the US military has also announced the deployment of 700 active duty Marines to join 4,000 National Guard troops to protect federal property and personnel, including immigration agents. Photos released by the Marine Corps showing Marines training in crowd control at Naval Weapons Station Seal Beach. And according to reports, the military deployment will cost taxpayers $134 million. The California governor is furious. He has blamed Donald Trump for the unrest. And he has also called Trump's move the behavior of a tyrant, not a president.
California may be first, but it clearly will not end here. Other states are next. Democracy is next. Democracy is under assault before our eyes. This moment we have feared has arrived.
In the court filing, the governor has asked a federal judge to block the use of troops for policing. But on Tuesday, the judge declined to immediately block the federal intervention, and a hearing is now set for Thursday. Critics have warned that without invoking the Insurrection Act, troops are legally limited to protecting federal property and not enforcing law on the streets. And mass demonstrations have also erupted across the country. Protests against the Trump administration's immigration raids centered on Los Angeles took place in New York, Chicago, Atlanta, Washington, Seattle. Thousands attended a protest against the federal government's Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE, at New York City's Foley Square.
Well, I'm here today because there's been a lot of injustices that have been going on in our country. You know, you got people that are being arrested on the street by agents that don't wear badges, wear masks. They're basically being kidnapped.
I think it's absolutely horrible. I remember seeing on the news that people, like parents, were being deported from their kindergarten kids' graduations.
I am an immigrant. I am a woman. I'm a woman of color under the definition of the law. And I really believe every immigrant should be treated equally.
The thing is, critics, Democrats and even the LA mayor have condemned the use of military force in Los Angeles as both legal and political dominoes continue to fall. The Trump administration is on a deadline in a way to file its opposition by 2 p.m. ET on California's motion for a temporary restraining order. The mayors of Chicago and Los Angeles are also scheduled to hold briefings. And as far as ordinary people go, a number of protests have been planned across several parts, suggesting that the protest that started last Friday in Los Angeles will likely keep expanding to new parts. The top US military official for West Asia has said that military plans to strike Iran have been submitted to US President Donald Trump and that US forces are ready to act if directed. Speaking before the US House Armed Services Committee, General Michael Kurilla, the head of the US Central Command, has said that he provided Donald Trump and the US Secretary of Defense with a wide set of military options regarding Iran. And it's important to note here that US presidents and defense secretaries are regularly briefed on potential military options, especially amid the heightened tensions with any country. But that does not guarantee that America will definitely act on it. Now, if the US does choose to pursue military action, what are the options? Cooperation with Israel is likely. Since the month of April, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has on multiple occasions reportedly expressed a desire for US approval and assistance in launching attacks on Iranian nuclear sites. And according to a recent Bloomberg report, a retired US Navy admiral and former NATO commander described the main element of any such operation against Iran as an outright aerial offensive involving drones, cruise missiles, and manned aircraft. Adding that before launching any direct strikes, military planners would likely begin with a cyber campaign aimed at disabling Iranian defense systems. This phase could be followed by missile and drone strikes targeting Iran's air defense systems, while special operations forces could also be deployed. Remember, last year, Israeli commandos flew by helicopter into Syria and destroyed an underground Hezbollah bunker. That operation combined airstrikes, special forces, and rapid mobilization. The former NATO commander has said that the US and Israel could use a similar tactic again, possibly involving naval ships to bring special forces close to Iranian territory. And subsequently, the US could use its long-range Tomahawk cruise missile attacks launched from naval vessels, aiming to dismantle Iran's radar networks, electric grids, communications infrastructure, and anti-aircraft batteries. At the same time, drones could be launched to neutralize Iran's air force on the ground before it could respond, a strategy similar to what Ukraine used against Russia earlier this month. And if Iran's defenses are successfully weakened, strategic bombers like the B-2 Spirit may be used to target hardened nuclear facilities. 30,000-pound bunker buster bombs could be used to destroy fortified Iranian underground structures. In March and April, satellite images and reports said that the US had started massing B-2 bombers at the strategic US military base in Diego Garcia in the Indian Ocean, within operational range of Iran. However, striking Iran's nuclear facilities presents serious challenges. The facilities are widely dispersed, heavily fortified, and located deep underground. Any mission would face logistical as also geographical hurdles, not to mention the risks of escalation. And Iran remains a major regional power with an extensive military arsenal. Its ballistic missiles can reportedly hit targets more than 1,700 kilometers away. And since early this year, Iran has unveiled new missiles, naval vessels, drones, even underground missile storage complexes. Just yesterday, Iranian authorities issued a warning that any Israeli strike on its nuclear facilities would prompt a counterattack on Israel's nuclear sites. Tehran said it possesses intelligence about those Israeli locations and has made it clear that it would retaliate if provoked. And in the latest, Iran has threatened to strike US bases in the region if military conflict arises. Listen to this.
God willing, it won't come to that, and the talks will yield results. But if they don't and conflict is imposed on us, the enemy's losses will undoubtedly be greater than ours. In that case, America will have to leave the region because all its bases are within our reach. We have access to them, and without hesitation, we will target all of them in the host countries.
In fact, Donald Trump has reportedly told Netanyahu over a phone call early this week that there is a chance of reaching a nuclear deal with Iran, and he therefore opposes military action at this point. So what happens next is really anyone's guess, and all eyes will be on the 6th round of the nuclear talks between the US and Iran later this week. And before we go on any further, here's a quick look at what else is lined up for you on the show tonight. We unravel for you the many layers to the Meghalaya honeymoon murder case that has sent shockwaves across India. We get you a special report on how the United States is taking drone warfare to a whole new level and what its moves actually imply. And now talking about the Meghalaya murder case that has sent shock waves across India and beyond. It's a story that has been dominating headlines. What is the latest? What is known so far? Let's get you up to speed. Sonam Raghuvanshi, the prime accused in the killing of her husband, Raja Raghuvanshi, has been sent to 8 days of police custody. In fact, all the accused, Sonam Raghuvanshi, Raj Kushwaha, Vishal Chauhan, Akash Rajput and Anand Kurmi were produced before the District and Sessions Court in Shillong today, where the court remanded them to 8 days of custody. The Meghalaya police revealed that they have evidence against Sonam, the prime accused in the Raja Raghuvanshi murder case, indicating her involvement in her husband's killing. However, they stressed that things will become clearer only after a thorough interrogation.
Investigation is going on. We have to confirm a lot of things. There is evidence against Sonam Raghuvanshi of her involvement in the murder. But things will be clearer after the interrogation.
So we can confirm that only after her interrogation.
Meanwhile, at Raja Raghuvanshi's house, the brother of the accused Sonam is seen breaking down and consoling his deceased brother-in-law's family. Govind, Sonam's brother, later said that Raja was a lovely man and his family should get justice. He said, and I'm quoting here, "If Sonam is found guilty, she must be hung. I will fight for Raja's justice." Raja, a 28-year-old businessman from Indore, was found dead on the 2nd of June in a gorge in Meghalaya. He had disappeared on the 23rd of May, along with his 24-year-old wife, Sonam. Sonam was found near an eatery on the Varanasi-Ghazipur main road a week after Raja's body was recovered. Reports say suspicion deepened as the SIT sifted through 42 surveillance videos. The conspiracy reportedly began well before that trip. Sonam, who returned to her parental home on the 15th of May, allegedly resumed contact with her alleged lover Raj. And next day, Raj allegedly met Akash, Vishal and Anand at a restaurant in Indore. The murder plan was allegedly sealed that evening. Raj stayed behind in Indore while the other three boarded a train to Guwahati via Delhi and arrived in Shillong on the 21st of May. For the next 2 days, they allegedly tailed the couple. Sonam allegedly took Raja to secluded spots for photos, giving her co-conspirators the window that they needed, and he was allegedly murdered on the 23rd of May. Switching gears for now, king cobras, among the world's most feared snakes, have now been found at the foothills of the Himalayas. 10 venomous snakes, including 9 king cobras and a monocled cobra, have been rescued from villages near Mount Everest, a region never known for reptiles like these. This is not just a rare sighting, it's a warning, it seems, and experts fear the Everest may be changing 1 degree at a time. According to the Kathmandu Post, the snakes were captured from different hill regions all located in Dakshinkali municipality, just south of Kathmandu, and along the foothills leading to the Everest region. While these snakes are native to the hot and humid Tarai belt of southern Nepal and India, the fact that they have been suddenly found in cooler, mountainous parts is a matter of concern. Some snakes may have traveled in trucks, hidden in logs or hay, but now locals have started spotting nests and eggs, suggesting that these venomous snakes are nesting and adapting to areas where they should not have been found. Experts believe rising temperatures in Nepal, increasing by 0.05 degrees Celsius per year, may be driving tropical species to higher altitudes. In Nepal, altitude effect is pushing Himalayan temperatures to plus 1.8 degrees Celsius. As the temperatures globally rise, and as mountains become warmer in a way, snakes are not the only species on the move. From house crows to rhododendron trees, wildlife seems to be climbing to cooler altitudes. Recent studies have found some bird species in Nepal shifted upward by over 100 meters per year. And this kind of a change, scientists say, is one of the clearest signs of climate-driven migration. And this is not just happening in Nepal. From panthers in the US moving into suburbs due to loss of habitat, to entire mangroves expanding and advancing into salt marshes. The entire world is witnessing some shift. As temperatures rise, tropical species are migrating northward and upward into uncharted territories. In Nepal, this shift has put snakes in direct contact with villagers in parts that have never seen them before. In hill districts, king cobras have been found inside homes and farms. But the local health facilities don't have anti-venom stockpiles, and many villagers don't know how to respond. And snakes don't come alone. They bring with them risks to the entire mountain ecosystem. King cobras are apex predators, which means that they can disrupt the fragile food chains in the hills, and their presence could threaten native species that have never had to compete or defend against them. Just to put it simply, the world's tallest peak is becoming home to some of its deadliest snakes, solely because climate change is pushing them there. The question that we need to ask: are we prepared for what's coming up with it? America already fields the world's strongest military, boasting of some of the most powerful and stealthy fighter jets. Now it's pushing the envelope with a new type of unmanned fighter jets, ushering in a radical wave of aerial dominance. Warfare has changed, drones have seized center stage, and America is sprinting ahead in that race.
Today's warfare is dominated by drones. Small and big, they come in different sizes. They aim to inflict maximum damage. And now, America is taking the drone warfare to the next level. More deadlier and stealthier drones equipped with jet engines. These new era jets will not have a human, but would be remotely controlled. This is YFQ-42A. These aren't simple drones, they're fighter-class unmanned combat aerial vehicles. The US Air Force plans to begin live flight trials this summer and is aiming to deploy hundreds by 2028. For US, the goal is simple: to kill more, die less. By pairing these drones with human pilots, frontline aircraft can dive deeper, strike smarter, and survive better. These new jets would keep sharing live data, electronic warfare, and target suppression, all while keeping pilots out of the line of fire. Pentagon says these autonomous wingmen can outnumber traditional manned fleets cheaply and quickly, compared to the multi-billion-dollar F-35. These new drones are fast, modular and affordable. There are plans to acquire 1,000 of these drones by the end of the decade. The implications are staggering. This technology could reshape the battlefield, making air power more efficient, more lethal and less reliant on human risk. Under the Trump administration, there is a massive push towards modernization in the US military. Trump was in North Carolina to celebrate the 250th anniversary of the US Army. Trump saw a test flight of an upgraded F-16 Eagle at Fort Bragg. He saw a demonstration of an exercise of troops demonstrating a helicopter assault and paratroopers in action as well. Bureau Report, WION The World.
On to Myanmar now, which is in the thick of a civil war since its military ousted a democratic government in 2021. Rebels who have been fighting Myanmar junta since the military coup have claimed a rare victory against its air force. People's Liberation Army, an armed wing of a Myanmar communist group, has said that its fighters downed the plane after 4 days of fierce conflict in central Sagaing region. The military swiftly denied their claim, saying the plane crashed near the central village of Min Tangpin around midday because of sudden engine failure while on a practice flight. And analysts say junta's air force is backed by Russia and China, which have allowed it to fend off a myriad of lesser-equipped opposition groups. While junta jets have kept opposition forces largely confined to the Myanmar fringes, they have also been accused of striking civilian targets, that too with impunity. In May, a junta airstrike on a school in Sagaing region killed at least 22 people, including 20 children. Myanmar's borderlands are home to ethnic armed groups who have battled the military since its independence in 1948. Since 2021, in fact, 700,000 people have been forced to flee their homes due to conflict since the coup. Aung San Suu Kyi, who was dethroned after her 2020 election victory, remains under arrest on several charges. On to Taiwan now. Its defense ministry reported tracking 43 Chinese military aircraft and 6 warships operating near the island. Earlier this morning itself, out of those, the ministry said 25 PLA aircraft entered Taiwan's northern, central and southwestern air defense zones, adding that it monitored the situation and responded accordingly. In another development, China deployed both of its aircraft carriers into the Pacific Ocean, reportedly a first for simultaneous joint operations. That far from its shores, the 2 vessels conducted fighter jet launch and recovery drills east of Japan's island, roughly 1,200 kilometers south of Tokyo. And Japan's defense minister expressed concern, calling the move a sign that Beijing aims to project military power beyond its traditional boundaries.
It is the first time that the 2 aircraft carriers, Liaoning and Shandong, were observed operating simultaneously in the Pacific, and it is also the first time we're announcing this.
Taiwan's defense minister held a similar view as his Japanese counterpart, describing the deployment as a clear political signal tied to China's expansionist goals. China has said its Navy's activities are consistent with international law and practice.
I would like to reiterate that Chinese naval ships' activities in the relevant waters are fully consistent with international law and practices.
A Taiwanese think tank has launched a 2-day military simulation with retired generals from the United States and Japan. The war games, led by the Taipei School of Economics and Political Science Foundation, reportedly aiming to evaluate how Taiwan might respond in the event of an armed conflict initiated by Beijing. Organizers say the exercise is designed to spotlight Taiwan's most pressing defense gaps and to recommend strategies accordingly. The simulation also tested how allied countries like the US and Japan would respond in such a scenario. French President Emmanuel Macron has said that the country will ban social media for teens soon, and it comes months after Australia, remember, disallowed children under the age of 16 from having social media accounts. Speaking to the French public after the murder of a teaching assistant in a high school, saying that he wants to move faster and that the people of France cannot wait after the killing of a French middle school employee.
Of course we can. I am not just following this on the European level, but we have also mobilized. I'm for the social media ban for under 15s, and we can do it because all these platforms have the possibility, through facial recognition or through credentials, to verify one's age.
And apart from this, he also announced that age verification will be imposed in France on sites selling knives online, similar to measures that currently apply to porn sites. French authorities are already progressing with efforts to force certain social media sites like Reddit and Blue Sky to introduce age verification by classifying them as pornographic websites. The European Union already has some of the world's most stringent digital rules to rein in big tech. With the support of France and Spain, Greece has spearheaded a proposal for how the EU should limit children's use of online platforms as it impacts children's mental and physical health. Just when the world is coming to terms with what artificial intelligence technology entails, there's a new word out there that's creating quite a buzz. We're talking about artificial general intelligence, or AGI. Let's just tell you, tech giants like OpenAI, Google are already ahead in the AGI race. And now, according to a Bloomberg report, Meta is also leaving no stone unturned to come out on the top. Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg is reportedly setting up a team of experts to achieve artificial general intelligence technology that can match or even surpass human capabilities. According to the Bloomberg report, Zuckerberg is not happy with Meta's efforts in the artificial intelligence space and has personally taken it upon himself to conduct the hiring process, meeting a few selected AI experts at his California home. What's Zuckerberg's goal really? To recruit the best AI experts out there, even if it means luring researchers away from rival firms, including OpenAI and Google. And what's on offer for them? The potential future Meta employees? A 7 to 9 figure package. Zuckerberg is reportedly aiming to hire around 50 people for the new team, including a new head of AI research. Reports suggesting this secretive new team is internally being called the Super Intelligence Group. So what is artificial general intelligence really, and how is it different from AI? First of all, AI exists, whereas AGI does not. It's basically a hypothetical technology, something that the tech world is aiming to achieve. AI is a broad field of computer science. It mainly focuses on creating machines that can perform tasks mimicking human intelligence, like learning problem solving, understanding language. The AI that we currently use comes under narrow AI. In other words, the world is yet to witness the vast, expansive world of AI. And artificial general intelligence, or AGI, is a type of AI that will one day be able to understand, learn, and apply intelligence, similar to human beings. If created, AGI will have the ability to generalize knowledge to novel situations. In other words, all AGI could be AI, but not all AI is AGI. Meta's AI ambitions are largely built on its Llama models. The company is hoping to make Llama a global AI foundation, much like what Google's Android did for mobile software. In addition to building the Super Intelligence Group, Zuckerberg is reportedly also planning to invest $1 billion in Scale AI, a company that specializes in data services for AI model training. Alexander Wong, Scale AI's founder, will reportedly be joining the Super Intelligence Group following the completion of this deal. Our next story is about a mobile game app Hong Kong authorities say the game pushes an anti-China secessionist agenda. What are the details? Created by a Taiwan-based developer, Reversed Front Bonfire is a single-player, turn-based strategy game set that basically challenges the players to overthrow a communist regime on an imaginary continent. Hong Kong police have asked residents not to download or share the gaming app and warned that doing so will invite punishment under stringent national security laws. Residents found with the gaming app on their devices could potentially be charged with possession of a publication that has a seditious intention. Needless to say, any in-app purchases by residents will be construed as financial support and will invite consequences, according to the order issued by Hong Kong police. Hong Kong and Macau are deemed special administrative regions in China. On paper, the classification imparts a certain degree of autonomy, but that's largely been eroded in Hong Kong after Beijing enacted a new set of national security laws in the year 2020. The laws were put in place after mass anti-China protests erupted in Hong Kong in 2019. 5 years later, it appears that the Communist Party of China is still nervous about any dissent taking root in Hong Kong and has widened its scope of censure. According to the statement by Hong Kong police, the game was released under the guise of a game with the aim of promoting secessionist agendas such as Taiwan independence and Hong Kong independence. Not much of a guise, it has to be said. According to the website for the game, players can pledge allegiance to Taiwan, Hong Kong, Mongolia, Tibet or Uyghurs, among other options, to overthrow the communist regime, quote unquote. To dispel any doubts about their intentions, the developers clarify that the app is a work of non-fiction and any similarity to the actual agencies, policies or ethnic groups of the People's Republic of China in the game is intentional. Thanks to the media attention on the order by Hong Kong's authorities, interest in the app has exploded online. The game's creators welcomed the ban, writing in a post that the game had been introduced to the entire Hong Kong. Is it time to forget everything that you know about the Big Bang? A radical new theory claims that our universe did not explode into existence. It bounced out of a massive black hole, like a cosmic springboard in a way. This is not science fiction. It's basically physics challenging the very basic foundation of our cosmic origins. Our next report telling you more.
We all have stared at the stars, immersed in thoughts. How massive is the universe? Have you ever wondered what lies beyond reality's edge? Now, a new theory suggests that our universe may exist within a massive black hole, not outside of it. The Big Bang is the best model used by astronomers to explain the creation of matter, space and time 13.7 billion years ago. How, from an extremely small, extremely hot and extremely dense state, the universe was born. Now, a new theory suggests that the Big Bang theory was wrong. According to researchers from the University of Portsmouth, instead of beginning with a singularity, an impossibly dense point in physics, including quantum effects, could have rebounded, collapsing matter like a compressed spring. The result, a big bounce rather than a bang, now evolving into the cosmic expansion observed today. The old theory struggles to explain puzzling things like dark matter, dark energy, and why our universe appears so perfectly flat. The black hole theory surprisingly offers fresh ways to make sense of these cosmic mysteries. It uses a new approach called quantum gravity, which tries to unite the super small world of particles with the super big world of galaxies. But for now, the textbooks won't be rewritten. More scientific explorations and research is needed to quash the Big Bang theory. Our quest continues. Science won't be rushed, but curiosity promises discovery. Bureau Report WION World is One.
On that note, it's a wrap on this edition of Gravitas Tonight. This is me, Molly Gambhir, signing off. Thanks very much for watching.
The Earth is sending distress signals. Wildfires, droughts, and melting glaciers. Can we reverse the damage? Explore the harrowing effects of climate change. It's a wake-up call. Global emergency. Climate Tracker on WION World is One.
From the bustling trading floors of Wall Street to the vibrant exchanges of Asian stock markets, WION breaks it down for you to make sense of what's happening. As we reveal the key factors behind events, strategic battles, and the game-changing business decisions that shape the world. We bring you all of this and more on World Business Watch. WION, India's global voice, the channel that brings you the biggest stories from across the world through India's lens. Now available in more than 190 countries worldwide. Because we believe that the world is one. Watch us in Africa, Europe, USA and Canada, South America, Asia Pacific, Middle East and North African regions. Also available on these digital platforms across the world. WION, World is One.
To bring the benefits of the Subhash Chandra Show to your educational institution, teachers and students, send an invitation to Juhi Jha at juhi@such.org.in.
The Earth is sending distress signals. Wildfires, droughts, and melting glaciers. Can we reverse the damage? Explore the harrowing effects of climate change. It's a wake-up call. Global emergency. Climate Tracker on WION World is One.
From the bustling trading floors of Wall Street to the vibrant exchanges of Asian stock markets, WION breaks it down for you to make sense of what's happening. As we reveal the key factors behind events, strategic battles, and the game-changing business decisions that shape the world. We bring you all of this and more on World Business Watch. WION, India's global voice, the channel that brings you the biggest stories from across the world through India's lens. Now available in more than 190 countries worldwide. Because we believe that the world is one. Watch us in Africa, Europe, USA and Canada, South America, Asia Pacific, Middle East and North African regions. Also available on these digital platforms across the world. WION, World is One.
To bring the benefits of the Subhash Chandra Show to your educational institution, teachers and students, send an invitation to Juhi Jha at juhi@such.org.in.
The Earth is sending distress signals. Wildfires, droughts, and melting glaciers. Can we reverse the damage? Explore the harrowing effects of climate change. It's a wake-up call. Global emergency. Climate Tracker on WION World is One.
To bring the benefits of the Subhash Chandra Show to your educational institution, teachers and students, send an invitation to Juhi Jha at juhi@such.org.in.
From the bustling trading floors of Wall Street to the vibrant exchanges of Asian stock markets, WION breaks it down for you to make sense of what's happening. As we reveal the key factors behind events, strategic battles, and the game-changing business decisions that shape the world. We bring you all of this and more on World Business Watch.
The Earth is sending distress signals. Wildfires, droughts, and melting glaciers. Can we reverse the damage? Explore the harrowing effects of climate change. It's a wake-up call. Global emergency. Climate Tracker on WION World is One.
Welcome back to WION World is One, and thank you for staying with us. I'm Eric Njoka. Time now for Pulse, the headlines. Two Russian Tu-22M3 strategic bombers carry out flight over neutral waters of the Baltic Sea. This as NATO governments keep a close eye on the region and prepare for any possible increase in tensions. Iran says it will strike US bases in West Asia if nuclear negotiations fail and conflict arises. This days ahead of a planned sixth round of Iran-US nuclear talks. US President Donald Trump softens on his spat with Elon Musk, tells a private TV channel things like this happen and that he's disappointed but has no hard feelings. Trial underway in Paris of 3 minors accused of anti-Semitic rape of a Jewish pre-adolescent girl in 2024. 2 of the teens are charged with gang rape, and a third is on trial for complicity in the crime. Kosovo says it has agreed to host migrants deported from the US. The acting Kosovan Prime Minister said the decision comes in response to a US request for the temporary acceptance and relocation of third country nationals. 107 people hospitalized in Madurai in India's Tamil Nadu state after eating food served during a temple festival. Reports say several people began to develop symptoms of vomiting and diarrhea soon after consuming the meal. The first ever 48-team football World Cup is exactly 1 year away. The US, Mexico and Canada will host the 2026 World Cup, with the first match taking place in Mexico City. After striking Kiev relentlessly, Russia is now targeting Kharkiv. Ukraine says that 3 people died and more than 60 others were injured in the latest attack. On the ground, Russian forces are pushing back Ukrainian forces in Dnipro and Sumy. Our next story takes a close look at the war, which is becoming deadlier.
The air crackles with the raw power of explosions. The night sky over Ukraine is lit with fire. It is yet another night of terror. Russia continues its relentless aerial bombardment. Precision missiles, heavy bombs, and swarms of drones are tearing through an already weakened infrastructure, reducing hardened structures and civilian havens to jagged ruins. After Kyiv and Odessa, Russia turned its glare towards Kharkiv. More than 15 apartments were on fire in a 5-story building and several houses were hit.
Kharkiv is under attack yet again. 17 Shade drones hit the city. As of now, 3 5-story apartment blocks are damaged. Also, private dwellings and industrial enterprises were hit.
There was a fire. I felt the smoke. I got out. I didn't have a chance to take any documents or money. There was a lot of smoke. It was impossible to stay in smoke and look for something.
These are the latest images from Odessa, death and devastation. The Ukrainian port city situated on the Black Sea coast is under relentless attacks. The ground forces, a tide of Russian might, are now pushing relentlessly towards Dnipro, their advance a chilling testament to the shifting tides of war. Sumy too lies within range, its fate hanging precariously in the balance as the war rapidly transforms in Russia's favor. Ukrainian military says that it targeted and destroyed 2 Russian drone control centers, 4 artillery systems, and a command post. Ukrainian Defense Ministry released these images of IRIS-T SLM air defense system donated by Germany in action. The intensity of this conflict has risen to a horrifying degree, pushing Ukraine to its absolute breaking point. The nation strains under the immense pressure, finding it increasingly impossible to sustain the fight. Its arsenal, once a symbol of defiance, is now tragically depleted, a direct consequence of dwindling aid from its Western allies. Ukraine desperately needs air defense systems which are running critically low on missiles, leaving them agonizingly vulnerable to the relentless aerial assault. With summer's full-scale assault looming, the next weeks could decide Ukraine's fate. Will Russia push deeper, or will the West step in with patriots and precision weapons? The front lines won't shift without decisive support. Bureau Report, WION World is One.